All right, get ready because today we're taking a deep dive into Afghan culture.
Oh, I'm excited.
And you've given us a ton of really cool sources to work with here.
Right.
Articles, we've got some personal notes. There's even a recipe in here for something called Kabuli pulao.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it sounds delicious.
It is. It's a staple of Afghan cuisine.
Oh, cool.
But I think even before we get to the food, what's most striking about Afghan culture, even from the surface, is this emphasis on family and respect for elders.
Yeah, you can see that in all of the sources.
Yeah.
It really jumps out at you.
It does.
These multi-generational households where the elders aren't just respected, but they're actually involved in decision-making.
Right.
Almost like a council of advisors.
And it goes beyond just family matters.
Oh, wow.
In a lot of communities, elders play a crucial role in resolving conflicts,
Interesting.
drawing on their experience and wisdom to guide the community.
I like that.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
One article mentions this story
Yeah?
about a land dispute between two families.
Right.
They've been going on for years,
Oh, wow.
and it was finally resolved, not in a courtroom,
Oh, really?
but through the mediation of a council of elders.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It really makes you think about how much we've lost that sense of community wisdom in many parts of the world.
it really does.
So we've got this foundation of family
Yeah.
and respect for elders, but we can't talk about Afghan culture without discussing the influence of Islam.
Of course not.
Right. It's a huge part.
Both Sunni and Shia branches are present,
Okay.
and it's clear from the sources that faith permeates daily life, from customs and traditions to the legal system.
Yeah.
One article that I found fascinating
Yeah.
explores how Islamic principles of generosity and hospitality are woven into the very fabric of Afghan society.
Okay.
And they talk about this concept called
Yeah.
melmastia.
Melmistia.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Oh, yeah.
Which essentially means treating your guests like royalty.
Okay, now you're talking.
Right.
I want to hear more about this Melmastia
Okay.
because honestly, who doesn't love being treated like royalty?
Okay, so imagine this.
Yeah.
You were traveling through a remote village in Afghanistan.
Okay.
You happen to stop by a family's home.
Uh-huh.
They may not have much,
Yeah.
but they will offer you the best of what they have.
Wow.
Food, shelter,
Okay.
even their own bed if
Yeah.
necessary.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So it's really hospitality on a whole other level.
Yeah, it really challenges our Western notions of hospitality, I think.
It does.
It makes you think about the true meaning of generosity and how it can create these incredible bonds between people.
Absolutely.
So we've got these strong family ties,
Uh,
deep respect for elders,
yeah.
this amazing culture of hospitality.
Right.
What else should we know about the Afghan people?
Well, for one, they're incredibly diverse.
Okay.
We tend to think of Afghanistan as this homogenous culture,
I do, yeah.
but in reality, it's a tapestry of different ethnic groups.
Huh.
Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, Uzbeks,
Wow.
and many others.
Okay.
Each group brings its own unique traditions, languages,
Wow.
even variations in the practice of Islam itself.
So it's like a mosaic
It is.
of cultures all contributing to this rich and vibrant whole.
Precisely. And this diversity
Mhm.
is reflected in everything from the languages spoken, Jari and Pashto being the most common, to the colorful clothing traditions.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was reading about the shalwar kameez.
Yes.
Those beautiful flowing garments.
Yes.
And the men wearing turbans and those distinctive pakol hats.
Exactly. And for women, the clothing is often elaborately embroidered and beaded,
Wow.
with different styles and patterns representing different regions and ethnic groups.
It's like a visual feast.
It is.
Cultural expression.
It really is. It makes you realize how much we can learn about a culture through something as simple as clothing.
Yeah, it's a way of expressing identity, heritage, even social status.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have got to talk about the food.
Okay.
You mentioned Kabuli pulao earlier, and my mouth is already watering.
It's a must try.
Okay.
Imagine tender lamb,
Yeah.
fragrant rice infused with cardamom and cumin,
Hmm.
sweet raisins and carrots adding bursts of flavor.
Oh, sounds so good.
It's a symphony of flavors.
It does.
It really is. And it's not just about the ingredients.
Okay.
Afghan cuisine is all about sharing.
Oh, nice.
Meals are often communal, eaten from a shared platter,
Okay.
fostering a sense of connection and togetherness.
So it sounds like food plays a really important social role. It does in Afghan culture.
It's about more than just sustenance. It's about bringing people together,
Yeah.
celebrating traditions,
Yeah.
sharing stories.
Okay, so before we get too carried away talking about all the amazing food,
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit more about the art scene in Afghanistan.
Okay.
I know they're famous for their rugs, but What else should we be paying attention to?
Well, Afghan culture is incredibly rich in artistic expression, from music and dance to poetry and literature.
Wow.
They have this deep love for storytelling, and it manifests in so many beautiful ways.
Okay, tell me everything.
All right, let's start with music.
Okay.
Their traditional music often features instruments like the rubab, which has this haunting, almost ethereal sound,
Wow.
and the tabla, those hand drums
Yeah.
that create such a vibrant rhythm.
Sounds amazing.
And then there's the atan, a traditional dance especially popular amongst the Pashtuns.
Okay.
It's
Bring
incredibly energetic,
Oh.
with dancers moving in a circle.
Uh-huh.
Their movements are perfectly synchronized,
Wow.
almost trance-like.
I've got to see a video of that. It
Yeah.
sounds like a really powerful expression of cultural unity.
It is.
So what about poetry and literature?
Well, Afghanistan has this long and rich literary tradition, with poetry holding a particularly special place.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Rumi, the 13th century poet and mystic,
Mm.
whose words continue to inspire people around the world. I mean, it's amazing to think about the enduring power of words,
It is.
how they transcend time and cultural boundaries.
Yeah, and in Afghan culture, poetry isn't just something you read silently. It's often recited aloud, shared in gatherings, passed down through generations.
Mm.
It's like their own version of spoken word poetry, keeping those traditions alive through the power of language.
Exactly. And this love for storytelling extends to their visual arts as well.
Yeah, the Afghan rugs.
The Afghan rugs,
I've always been fascinated by them.
they're truly works of art.
Yeah.
Each rug is meticulously hand-knotted, with intricate designs and vibrant colors that tell stories of their culture, their history, their everyday lives.
And I've heard that some of these rugs can take years to complete.
That's right.
It's a real testament to their patience and skill,
It is.
dedication to their craft.
And beyond their artistic value, these rugs also play a vital role in the Afghan economy.
Yeah, they provide income and sustain livelihoods, especially for women in rural areas.
Exactly. So when you see an Afghan rug, you're not just admiring a beautiful object, you're connecting with this long and rich cultural tradition.
It's incredible how art and culture can intersect in such meaningful ways.
It really is.
And speaking of intersections, I'm curious to learn more about how Afghan society is navigating the complexities of the modern world.
Yeah, that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll explore the dynamics of tradition and modernity, the challenges they face, and the incredible resilience they've shown in preserving their cultural identity.
Looking forward to it. Welcome back. I'm still thinking about those Afghan rugs.
Me too.
The artistry, the history woven into every knot.
Yeah, they really are more than just rugs.
It's fascinating.
They're a testament to the enduring spirit of the Afghan people,
That's a great point.
a spirit that shines through in how they navigate the complexities of tradition and modernity.
Yeah, and that's something that we see throughout all the sources that we've got here. This delicate dance between honoring their heritage and embracing the changing world around them.
Exactly. And it plays out in so many aspects of their lives,
Yeah.
from the way they approach education
Uh-huh.
to the evolving roles of women in society.
So let's start with education.
Yeah.
The sources mention this blend of traditional religious teachings
Yeah.
and more modern schooling.
It seems like they're striving to find a balance between the two.
Yeah, it makes sense.
One article highlights the importance of madrasas,
Okay.
which are traditional Islamic schools,
Uh-huh.
in providing religious education and instilling moral values.
Okay.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
there's a growing recognition of the need for modern education
Right.
to equip the younger generations with the skills that they need to thrive in a globalized world.
Yeah, I mean, you need that foundation of faith and tradition, but you also need those tools to navigate the complexities of the 21st century.
Exactly.
Like building a bridge between the past and the future.
It is a bridge. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy.
And speaking of bridges,
Yeah.
we're seeing similar bridges being built when it comes to gender roles.
That's right.
The sources indicate that while gender roles are traditionally defined in Afghan society,
Yeah,
there's a noticeable shift happening, especially in urban areas.
absolutely. One of the articles profiles a group of young Afghan women who are entrepreneurs, doctors, educators.
Wow.
They're breaking down barriers, challenging traditional norms, paving the way for future generations.
That's amazing.
It is.
So inspiring to see them pushing boundaries and creating new possibilities.
Yeah, and while progress might be slow,
Uh-huh.
These women are a testament to the fact that change is happening within Afghan society.
It's really cool.
It's a reminder that culture is not static, it's constantly evolving.
So speaking of evolution,
Yeah,
we've talked a lot about tradition,
right.
but I want to know about the ways in which Afghans are embracing modernity.
Well, one area where we see this is in their adoption of technology.
Oh.
Cell phones, the internet, social media, they're all becoming increasingly common, even in rural areas.
That's interesting.
It really makes you wonder how technology is impacting their culture, their traditions, their way of life.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah, it is.
On the one hand, technology can be a powerful tool for connecting people, sharing information,
Uh-huh.
and even preserving cultural heritage.
Right.
I mean, there are online platforms dedicated to Afghan music, poetry, and art reaching audiences that they could never have reached before.
So it's like a digital tapestry weaving together those threads of tradition and modernity.
Exactly. But on the other hand, there's concern that technology could lead to the erosion of traditional values and customs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a dilemma faced by many cultures around the world.
It is.
How to embrace the benefits of technology without losing sight of what makes them unique.
It's a tough balancing act.
It is.
And it's a reminder that cultural change isn't always a smooth or straightforward process.
No, absolutely. There will be tensions, challenges, and differing perspectives.
You mentioned earlier that even in those remote areas, technology is making inroads.
Yeah.
It makes me think about the differences between rural and urban life in Afghanistan because the sources paint quite a contrasting picture.
They do?
Rural life is deeply connected to the land,
Yes.
agriculture being the main way of life.
Right.
Families living in these close-knit communities where traditions are passed down through generations
Yeah.
and life moves at a slower pace.
It sounds almost idyllic in a way, a simpler, more grounded existence.
It does.
But these rural communities also face significant challenges.
Right.
Poverty, limited access to education and healthcare,
Yeah.
and the ongoing effects of conflict and instability.
And in contrast, urban centers like Kabul offer a more modern experience
Yes.
with greater opportunities for education, employment,
Yeah.
and exposure to the outside world.
Exactly. Cities are these hubs of cultural exchange where you find universities, bustling marketplaces, a mix of traditional and modern influences.
Yeah.
You're more likely to see women working outside the home,
Okay.
attending university, and pushing for greater social change.
So within Afghanistan itself, there's this whole spectrum of experiences,
Yeah,
each shaped by its own unique set of challenges and opportunities.
precisely. It's a reminder that we can't talk about Afghan culture as a monolith.
Right.
It's a mosaic of experiences constantly evolving and adapting to the forces around it.
Yeah, this deep dive is really challenging my preconceived notions about Afghanistan.
Good.
It's so much more complex and nuanced than I ever imagined.
That's the beauty of exploring different cultures.
It is.
It opens your eyes to new perspectives, it challenges your assumptions, and it ultimately enriches your understanding of the world.
So we talked about education, gender roles, that rural-urban divide, technology's impact.
Yeah.
What else should we know about how Afghan society is navigating this modern world?
Well, one aspect that stood out to me
Yeah.
is their enduring passion for sports.
See, sports. I would not have immediately associated that with Afghan culture.
I know, right?
So tell me more.
Well, think about it. Sports are often a reflection of a culture's values, its history.
Okay.
It's very spirited.
I like that.
So what kind of sports are we talking about?
Yeah.
Well, first, you have buzkashi.
Buzkashi.
Imagine a chaotic,
Okay.
adrenaline-fueled horseback game
All right.
where teams of these skilled riders compete to grab a headless goat carcass
What?
and carry it to a designated goal.
Okay, that is not your average soccer match.
No, it's not.
Wow.
It's rough, it's intense, it's considered the national sport of Afghanistan.
That sounds incredible.
Buzkashi requires incredible strength, horsemanship,
Mm-hmm.
strategy.
Yeah.
It's a sport that embodies the Afghan spirit of resilience, determination, and a bit of wildness.
So I can see why it would be so popular. Sounds like a true reflection of their cultural heritage.
Yeah.
But what about more modern sports?
Well, cricket and soccer have gained massive followings, particularly among the younger generations.
So it's like a blend of the old and the new.
Yeah.
All right.
Traditional sports like buzkashi, alongside global favorites like cricket and soccer.
And it's not just about competition.
Oh,
It provides a sense of normalcy,
yes.
a way for people to come together,
Right.
escape the everyday challenges they face.
Yeah, a reminder that even in the midst of hardship, people need those outlets for joy, camaraderie, and a sense of community.
Exactly. And speaking of community,
Yeah.
that's another key aspect of Afghan culture that shines through in how they navigate the modern world.
Right. We talked earlier about the importance of family and the role of elders.
Uh-huh.
But this sense of community extends far beyond the immediate family unit.
Okay.
One of the sources describes this concept of hamahangi,
Hamahangi.
which roughly translates to solidarity or togetherness.
Okay.
It's a deeply ingrained value
Yeah.
that emphasizes cooperation, mutual support, and a sense of responsibility for one another's well-being.
I love that.
It is a beautiful concept.
Mhm.
This idea that we're all interconnected and responsible for supporting each other.
Yeah.
And it's something that's evident in how Afghans respond to challenges.
Uh-huh.
They come together, they help each other,
Yeah.
they find strength in their shared identity.
It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, human connection can be this powerful source of resilience.
It really can.
So given everything that we've learned about Afghan culture, its richness, its complexities, its resilience,
Yeah.
how do you think it will continue to evolve in the years to come?
That is a great question.
That's where we'll pick up in part 3 of our deep dive.
We'll delve into some specific examples of how Afghan culture is being preserved and celebrated, both within Afghanistan and around the world.
I can't wait. Welcome back to our final deep dive into Afghan culture. It's been a whirlwind of fascinating insights.
It really has.
We've uncovered so much already, from the warmth of Melmastia to the thrill of buzkashi.
Yeah, we've only just scratched the surface. Today, I think let's focus on how Afghan culture is being preserved and celebrated
Yeah.
in the face of modernization and globalization.
It makes me think about those incredible Afghan rugs we talked about.
Yes.
They're not just beautiful works of art,
Right.
but they're a real tangible representation of a centuries-old tradition.
They're a perfect example of how culture can be both preserved
Yeah,
and economically empowered.
that's right.
In many villages, rug weaving is a primary source of income, often passed down through generations of women.
It's like a thread connecting the past to the present, keeping those traditions alive while also providing economic stability.
Exactly. And the beauty of Afghan rugs is that they're finding new audiences around the world,
Yeah.
introducing people to the richness and artistry of Afghan culture.
Yeah, it's like a cultural ambassador
Uh-huh.
woven into every knot and every pattern.
Exactly.
But it's not just about physical objects, right?
Right.
How else is Afghan culture being preserved and shared?
One powerful way is through storytelling. We talked about their love for poetry and literature,
Yeah.
but the Afghan oral tradition is equally as rich and vibrant.
Yeah, the sources mentioned these gatherings where stories are passed down through generations,
Exactly.
keeping those histories and traditions alive.
And these storytelling sessions are more than just entertainment.
Yeah.
They're a way to transmit knowledge,
Yeah.
values,
Uh-huh.
a sense of shared identity.
It's amazing.
Yeah, one article describes how these stories are actually used to teach moral lessons
Wow.
and resolve conflicts within communities.
It's fascinating how storytelling can serve so many purposes.
It really is.
Education, entertainment, conflict resolution,
Yeah.
cultural preservation,
Uh-huh.
all rolled into one?
A testament to the power of language and the enduring human need to connect through these narratives.
So we've talked a lot about tradition,
Yes.
but I'm curious about how Afghan culture is evolving and finding new forms of expression
Okay.
in the modern world.
Well, one area where we see this is in music. Traditional Afghan music, with its haunting melodies and intricate rhythms, is finding new life through collaborations with modern artists.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you've got musicians who are blending traditional instruments like the rubab
Yeah.
with electronic beats,
Oh, wow.
creating a fusion that's both innovative
Uh-huh.
and deeply rooted in their heritage.
It's like a musical bridge between the past and the present,
Yes,
appealing to a new generation while staying true to their cultural roots.
exactly. And it's not just music.
Okay.
We see similar innovations in fashion, film, even cuisine.
Oh, wow.
There are young Afghan chefs experimenting with traditional recipes, incorporating modern techniques and ingredients
Okay.
to create something new and exciting.
It's like a culinary remix, right?
It is.
Keeping the essence of the original, but adding that contemporary twist.
Exactly. And this willingness to experiment and evolve is a sign of a healthy and vibrant culture.
Yeah.
It shows that Afghan culture is not stuck in the past.
Uh-huh.
It's actively engaging with the present and shaping the future.
This has been such an eye-opening experience for me. It's challenged so many of my preconceived notions about Afghanistan and introduced me to this culture that's both deeply rooted in tradition
Yes.
and remarkably adaptable.
I agree. It's been a reminder that culture is not this static thing.
Right.
It's a living, breathing entity
Yeah.
that's constantly evolving, adapting, and finding new ways to express itself.
And it's a reminder that every culture has something valuable to offer, something unique and beautiful that deserves to be celebrated and understood.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Phew. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Afghan culture, I hope our listener comes away with a newfound appreciation for the richness and complexity of Afghan culture.
I do too.
It's a culture that's often misunderstood or overshadowed by headlines.
Yeah?
But as we've seen, it's a tapestry woven with threads of resilience, warmth, artistry, and this really deep sense of community.
I hope our listeners are inspired to continue exploring, to delve deeper into the world of Afghan music, art, literature, cuisine. There's a whole universe of fascinating discoveries waiting to be made.
So to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this incredible journey, and we encourage you to keep those minds open, keep learning, and keep exploring the rich tapestry of cultures that make up our world.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.